If I didn't ever live, none of you would have ever known how people lived on the frontier, and see how much easier all of you had it. My name is Ingalls. I was born on February 7, 1867, in a cabin in Pepin, Wisconsin. My parents were Kyleana and Charles Philip Ingalls. A little bit after I was born, we moved to Kansas. That's how I made all of the setting of Little House on the Prairie. Just to let all you guys know. In the early 1870s, Mom and Pa took me and two of my sisters to Indian Territory in what is now part of Kansas. We left Wisconsin because Pa felt the area was becoming too populated and driving it out wild. Living in Kansas, we were on the edge of the reserve. Pa thought the government would open the land for whites to live and have the Indians go more west. By getting there ahead of everyone else, he would have to pick out our part of the land. In Little House on the Prairie, I write about how my family journeyed there in boat life. A lot of the white neighbors helped us, and Pa made Pa make a house, a stable, and for our horses and dig wells. Supporting our family, Pa hunts and collects fur. He trades most of the fur for seeds so we can farm in the spring. We work just to survive. There are scary moments when hostile Indians enter the home and take food and supplies, yet there are some good moments with it. No matter what, we have a hardy pioneer spirit as the pleasure our American dream. We risk our lives for the chance of owning land, though several other white settlers in the area aid each other so can achieve the same goal. We have to be self-reliant because the neighbors are several miles away, though. There's little interaction outside of the family in the end, however, but Pa gambling does not help pay us off. We live before the U.S. government and can force us into the U.S. government can force us into. The government decided not to make the Indians leave yet, but instead made the white settlers move out of Indian Territory. The American dream of our family has to find another home. When I was younger and when we were moving around a lot, I didn't go to school very much. We just lived around. We just kept moving around. Never did graduate, but in 1882, I passed a test to get my teaching certificate. In 1882, from 1885, I was a teacher in South Dakota. Later that year, on August 25th, 1885, I married Almanzo Wilder. We also moved around a lot until we found our small farm in Mansfield, Missouri. Later on December 5th, 1886, I had given birth to my beautiful daughter named Rose. Rose is the whole reason I started writing. She would always ask me about my pioneer days. When I was 65 years old, I published my own book with the help of my daughter shaping it up for me. It was called Little House in the Big Woods. After that, I wrote the whole series of Little House. I then completed the last book in Little House series in 1943 when I was 76 years old. I'd also tried to write Pioneer World, but that had gotten rejected many times. My books also the television series that came a while later on about life, about the pioneer, about the frontier, and how much harder it was to live then. Like how we had to use lakes to wash our clothes, then search for firewood so we could use the fire to warm our water to take baths. After all my success, I was getting pretty old. Do remind you, I did publish my very first book when I was 65 years old. Pretty old to start my writing career. In 1949, my husband Almanzo died. I stayed on the farm, kept reading and responding to many of my readers' mail. Sadly, I later died when I was 90 years old. The exact date of my death was February 10th, 1957. I died from a stroke in the farm in Mansfield. Yet after my death, my daughter edited and published several of my works off of my diary and my unfinished manuscripts. Little House on the Prairie, the television show, was based on my life, aired in 1974 and ran until 1982. Remember me with smiles and laughter, for that is how I remember all of you. If you only remember me with tears, then don't remember me at all.
Oh.